Hey everyone, welcome for another review. This time we're doing a spoilers review.
Straight out.
Straight out. We're doing it for a movie produced by
Blumhouse.
Yeah, you damn right we're doing this one. We're doing Upgrade.
This movie was friggin' awesome.
You can pick your head.
I know.
Alright, you want to go through the story real quick?
So basically, it was about these two people who are husband and wife. The wife is more intelligent than the husband, I think.
She works for a software company that makes technological products.
For the future.
Yeah, this takes place in the future. They don't really specify when, but it takes place in the future. And basically what's going on is that his wife works for this large corporation, and he's someone who doesn't really like technology all that much. He's someone who rather does things with his hands. He works on classic cars, and he's not a technophobe, but he's someone who would rather prefer a hands-on approach rather than having in this world where you can literally tell their version of Alexis, play this, order my eggs, and whatnot. And then you want to go through what happens?
There's a gang of thugs killed the wife, Asha. Yeah, that's her name, Asha. Yeah, she dies, and they paralyze
Gray.
Gray, yeah. And so Gray gets paralyzed for a good long while. Then he goes to his friends. What's his name?
Who, Discount Dane DeHaan?
Yeah, Egad, I think is his name.
Yeah. Well, he wasn't really his friend. He was someone who he was working on his car for.
Yeah. We'll just go with Egad because that's how I can remember.
Yeah, he gives him the upgrade and puts
stem inside his spine. And then he's allowed to move again. Yay! And so now he wants to find the guys who killed his wife. Stem apparently can talk. So he talks to him. Stem is actually smarter than he looks. Well, he's just a Stem. So they go hunt down the people who killed his wife. He killed this guy at his house. He killed the other guy at a bar. He killed this other guy when Stem got shut down. He was paralyzed, and then he had to get a hacker to fix Stem, so that way Egad couldn't shut him down. He killed that guy at the hacker place. Oh no, he killed him on the roof. That's right. And then he killed the supposed leader of all of them at his house.
This movie has the movie was kind of. How did you feel when you saw the beginning? Because I went into the non-spoiler. By the way, my non-spoiler review will be in the comments below, or will be in the description below.
Description, not comments.
Description.
You don't ever put it in the comments.
Yeah. So, what did you feel about the first couple minutes of the movie? The first 15 minutes?
That's dark. But not dark enough.
It was kind of boring. Because we saw a little bit too much of Gray and Asha's life. Until he gets paralyzed. And then there was just like more of like his life with his mom, because he becomes a quadriplegic. He can't move anything below the neck. And then once Stem gets inserted, that's really when the movie goes full force. And Gary Marshall-Green, he was in Prometheus, he was in Spider-Man Homecoming as the first Shocker. He's a couple of other movies, nothing huge. I made this comment, and I'm pretty sure everyone else is making it. He's Discount Tom Hardy. But he was a lot of fun in this movie. Like, this movie has a great sense of humor, and his acting performance is actually really good because his body's doing all these physical things, and his face is in shock. Like the scene where he had to...
Where he had to kill the guy? Yeah.
No, where he cut the guy.
Yeah, I know. It was like, oh god. Oh god.
Yeah, he said, I'll look away, and then Stem, who controls his body, would end up slicing the dude's face in a bunch of different places. And this is directed by James Wynn Lee, who also directed and wrote the first Saw movie. He was also actually a star in it, who's most notorious for people on screen as Specs from the Insidious franchise. He directed Part 3 and he wrote The Last Key. And this is the first time Blumhouse ventures into the action territory. And what did you feel about the action?
It was good.
There's really only 4 key action scenes. And I was kind of, when I saw the movie the first time, I was kind of mad that the first fight scene is mostly in the trailers.
Oh.
The one where he goes into the dude's house.
Yeah, I know.
It was mostly, except for the ending.
Yeah.
This movie has a great sense of humor. You wanna say your favorite line from the movie?
Bet you didn't know that I was a freaking ninja. Great, I assure you, I am no ninja.
There's a scene where he goes into this hoodlum bar, and you have to remember he has to play that he can't move below the neck. So he goes in there, he challenges everyone to find out who's the killer is. And they take him into the bathroom, and he finally lets Stem loose to attack these people. And it's a really good scene because there's even one part where while he's beating on his main assailant, someone comes up from behind him and he punches them. And he goes, oh, by the way, I didn't forget you were there. So he eventually jumps on the dude and goes, I bet you didn't know I was a fucking ninja. And then Stem tells him,
great, I am very assured of you that I am no ninja.
yeah, it's a funny line. This movie also deals with the fact of technology taking over.
Yes. Yes. Robots will rule the world. No.
Because,
but Stem does take over because
yeah,
the ending turns out that Stem was the villain the entire time.
I didn't see that coming when I first saw it. The whole thing leads to the fact that Stem coordinated this. That the scientist created Stem, and Stem took over. Basically, he took over his whole operation. We ended up finding out that Stem was in charge of the corporation that he was supposedly the head of. But it's kind of beautifully executed because there's a whole thing, there's a sequence or there's a theme going out throughout the whole movie where Stem was like, oh, I can't do this unless you allow me to do it. That's why during the first couple of sequences he was like, oh, you have to give me authorization. Yeah. And Gray had to go, oh, I give you permission. And then, there are a couple of good scenes. There are a lot of good scenes. The scene with, after the hacker, where Gray wakes up.
Yeah.
And Gray's like, oh, we're not finding out who the killers are. And his body shuts down. And because Gray thought he was in control the whole time, he goes, what happened? And he goes, we are in control now. Just judging by this movie and the trailers for the Venom movie by Sony coming up in October, this is by far a better Venom movie. You want to talk about the ending?
So basically, Stem takes over Gray's body. Gray tries to fight Stem inside his mind, and then he ends up killing evil Gad. I'm gonna say that. And when he finally tries to commit suicide to stop Stem traps him in his own mind at the last second. And then you see Gray waking up from the hospital. At first I was like, wait, there was no way it was a dream the entire time.
Yes, there's a part, like you said, where Gray believes that he had shot himself in the neck because that's where Stem exists. And he doesn't. And he wakes up. And you see him in the hospital, supposedly after the attack. I want to say. And he's fine, he can move, and he sees his wife. And when I saw that in theaters, I was ready to scream bullshit and throw shit. Because if this whole movie would have been a dream sequence, the movie would have fell apart. But luckily the movie was smart enough, and
turned out Stem just trapped him in his mind. So the police woman that was trying to help out Ray the whole time, she gets shot and killed, and Stem wins, and that's how the movie ends.
And the movie ends with him rather walking out the room in his like kind of robotic type of way.
Yeah.
And
that's it.
Upgrade. And it was really freaking good. The action was good. It had actually a really interesting story throughout, whether it's Stem forcing Gray to realize that being alive isn't really that great, which leads to the whole ending part where he gets trapped in his own mind because he'd rather be there because he can control it and there's less pain. And Stem literally tricking him into admitting or into giving in to the whole technology field. This movie's really good. I saw it because it was produced by these guys. And this movie lives up to every bit. If you hear anyone gushing about this, is probably one of the best movies I've seen all year. Your comments?
I didn't know I was a ninja.
It had 4 major action sequences, and all of them were well choreographed. The visuals were really good for a shoestring budget this movie had. I definitely like the style. Anytime you saw Stem take over, like
that was cool.
Yeah, they went into the where the camera was kind of following Gray through the action. And once we got over the first 15-20 minutes, the movie really stepped up, and it's sci-fi without being 100. This isn't like we're living in Star Trek days where everything's flying. That's probably the only thing I would say bad about the movie, especially during the car sequence. One, the car sequence is a little bit simplistic, and then 2, it was weird watching these like 1 or 2 cars where they were driving themselves and it looked so futuristic, and then on the side everything else looked regular. I enjoyed this movie. Go out and see this movie. You want to give it a score?
8.
I give it a 9.2. I really like this movie. That makes our score 8.6. It's currently at 92% on the tomato meter. Go see this. This will probably be better than the Venom movie that's coming out later this year. Last comments?
Ninja.
You crack me up, little buddy. Did you see Upgrade? Let us know in the comments below. Like, subscribe, and we will talk to you later. Bye.